Good morning, friends! It seemed that many of you really enjoyed our last coffee chat, so I thought it would be a good morning to do another one, this time about motivation. Inspired by this book, which I recently read, The Motivation Myth. But before that, if we haven't met yet, hi, my name is Jackie. I'm currently a PhD candidate. I study higher education at the University of Toronto. And generally in life, I would describe myself as having good amounts of motivation for working towards my life goals and dreams. My sense these days is that motivation may be a little harder to come by given the fact that we're in a global pandemic that's bringing a host of uncertainties, stressors, sadness, amongst other things. So how motivated do you find yourself feeling these days, my friends? Maybe your answer is pretty good, thanks for asking. But perhaps the current situation has put a wrench into some of your plans and now you're thinking, now what? Having to pivot from your original plans, ones that you might have worked really hard on, that could easily have you feeling a little bit lost or distressed or uncertain, a bit deflated. So many possible feelings. It's normal and natural if you're feeling some of those ways. So I recently read this book on my Kindle called The Motivation Myth: How High Achievers Really Set Themselves Up to Win. Again, it's by Jeff Haden and it was recommended to me by two YouTubers in the StudyTube space, Granger and Abdaal. And if you haven't yet, I would recommend checking out their channels. They have a lot of great resources, particularly about productivity and motivation as it relates to student life. Back to the book, one of Haden's points is to share what he perceives as a secret of motivation, that it's a result and not a prerequisite. That is, lasting motivation comes from experiencing successes, even minor day-to-day successes, on an ongoing, regular basis. How many times have you found yourself thinking, I wish I had more motivation so I would do X, Y, Z? Thinking this way presumes that we need to be struck by a lightning bolt of motivation in order to feel motivated. While Haden acknowledges that momentary motivation can be helpful, for example, you might come up with a really cool idea and feel motivated by it, but this motivation doesn't often endure. Instead, Haden argues that long-lasting motivation comes from frequently seeing yourself make progress and enjoying that. Seeing these accomplishments instills a sense of pride, and this motivates you to want to do more. So this point had me thinking. I'm currently working on a long-term project, a PhD dissertation, which takes a long time. There are so many steps involved, and in many ways it's one big exercise in delayed gratification. First, there's getting your dissertation proposal to a point that your committee will accept and thinks is ready to go. There's a lot of editing and revision involved in that. Same goes for filing your university's Research Ethics Board application. This is an important step that gives you ethical approval to go through with your research, and any subsequent applications you have to make at organizations after that. Once again, very thorough applications that also go through a fair bit of editing before you submit them. And then the Research Ethics Board might ask you to make revisions upon that. Though I have to say, mine magically came back with 0 corrections. A story for another day. If you'd like me to do a video about drafting Research Ethics Board applications, please let me know in the comments section. So back to dissertating. Data collection, also time consuming, taking many months. Same for writing up a thesis. Not only does it take a lot of time to write up the initial manuscript, there is plenty of revising involved for the thesis to be ready for submission and defense. So with that being said, there's not a lot of formal points along the way where you might be told, way to go, you did it, well done you. In many ways, it's been up to me to sense and feel success along the way and feel motivated by that. This notion of a success motivation loop, that is, success leads to more motivation, which leads to more success, which leads to more motivation. I think remembering this can be very helpful to people like me who are working on long-term projects that involve a fair share of delayed gratification. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think many of us already sort of have a sense that we feel more motivated after experiencing success. Haden's reminding us to have that point in our consciousness as opposed to our subconsciousness so that we can harness it to help propel us forward instead of waiting around for motivation in a given moment. If we just get going, we'll get closer to experiencing success, even an everyday type of success. And when we recognize and take note of that success, we are likely to feel more motivated to keep moving forward. One of the things that I find can get in the way of propelling myself forward is, those little fears that you have or nervousness that you experience about putting your work out there. It's that little inner questioning that can surface, can I do this? Can I write a dissertation that will be accepted? Something that I find helps me with that is to tell myself to just get going for 5 minutes. Quite literally, I'll tell myself, can I just get you to work on this for 5 minutes? And in that 5 minutes, the nervousness starts to slip away because I see myself already starting to make very small progress on whatever it is. And then I virtually always keep going. It gets easier as I go. And there's always that moment of satisfaction that I feel knowing that I'm advancing through this challenge. And if you keep doing that day in, day out, you're gonna get to where you wanna go. Something else that I find helps my motivation is having routines and spaces for my work that I enjoy. Routines are actually another topic that Haden brings up in his book. For me, having a morning routine helps me achieve good energy and a positive mindset going into my workday, which in turn helps to motivate me. Things that help most include a nutritious breakfast, reading or watching something inspiring, journaling, and reflecting. Same goes for having a positive workspace, natural light, having my favorite stationery around, music that helps me focus, healthy snacks, maybe a nice cup of tea. Another thing that motivates me is having reminders of what my bigger picture goals and dreams are around me. This helps me remind myself how smaller steps are connected to these bigger goals and dreams, and reminds me why pursuing these things is important to me. I have them listed in the front of my passion planner. I also have plans to include them in my Notion organizer so I can take them anywhere with me. I'm thinking about creating a vision board. I haven't done that before. If you have, and you have some cool resources related to that, feel free to mention them in the comments section. Another thing is envisioning what it will feel like when I accomplish certain goals and dreams. This can also give me a dose of motivation as needed. For example, graduating and knowing how proud my family will be of me, envisioning the teacher I am becoming and can be right now through things like my YouTube channel. Thinking in ways like these gives me energy. Also reminding myself that I have accomplished hard things in the past, all kinds of large projects. Remembering what it was like to accomplish those and knowing that I'm going to feel similarly when I accomplish my current projects. Even thinking back to figure skating as a kid, you would attempt a double jump easily more than 1,000 times before landing it. Your body has to be positioned so exactly so that you can land on a 1/4 inch of a blade on ice. The feeling of landing a jump for the first time, I love that feeling. For example, landing my axel jump for the first time is one of my core memories. I remember my coach Judy keeping me out on the ice in the summertime while the Zamboni was coming on, just so that we could show my mom that I could do it. For some reason, it's one of those things I can remember like it was yesterday. Last but not least, rest if you need rest. Sometimes the reason why we are feeling less motivated is because we need more rest, or other aspects of our lives are calling us in important ways. Perhaps our family or our friends need us. Things could be really dire financially speaking. Haden refers to examples like these in his book. Certain things may need our attention for us to be able to feel more motivated in other aspects of our lives. Therefore, it's important to listen to our mind, our heart, our gut about what we think we need most. Anyways, the strategies and mindsets I've discussed have been helping me to feel motivation during what has been a challenging time trying to complete your dissertation in the middle of a global pandemic. I hope that these thoughts are helpful to you in some way, shape, or form. If motivation is a bit of a struggle right now, but you have it in you to keep going for like 5 minutes, keep going. You'll likely find yourself feeling a little better, particularly if you can acknowledge how far you came, your accomplishments, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant to you. All of these little steps and accomplishments add up to enabling us to achieve our hopes and dreams and more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like so others will know it's a video they might enjoy as well. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed, and a special welcome to the newest members of our community. There's quite a few folks who watch the channel but aren't subscribed yet. Please consider subscribing so that you can be the first to know when new videos are out. Doing so also really supports the channel. It helps my ability to get the videos out there so that others will discover them and potentially join our community. So this is me signing off until the next video. Until then, wishing you a beautiful and productive week. Bye, friends.